Welcome to the Knightline Podcast, your source for UCF football and former UCF player information. All right, Night Nation, this is Andrew Phegley. Welcome to the Knightline Podcast. This is number 14, and to my left from the 1148 studios is...
Troy Ondrizek. Thank you for listening.
All righty. So, we had a much more convincing win this week.
Are you happy?
I'm ecstatic.
Did the Knights put some sugar on your grapefruit?
They did. They did. I am feeling good.
You only complained once during the whole game. I was very proud of you.
Okay, yeah, sure. I don't even remember what it was about, so that's good.
Oh, you'll remember.
I'm happy. This is a convincing win. This is what we needed to do, 34-14 over Temple. P.J. Walker was kind of like J.J. Walker out there. Not much going on.
Who's J.J. Walker?
You don't know who J.J. Walker is?
Yeah, who's J.J. Walker?
Seriously?
Yeah.
The guy from Good Times.
The Dynamite guy?
Dynamite?
I thought he was Dynamite.
But so he wasn't like...
So P.J. Walker wasn't Dynamite.
He was absolutely not Dynamite in this game.
You know, he left the game for a good portion.
He
not
did,
because he was injured.
Because they wanted him to see the game from the sideline.
You know, that's twice this season that UCF has taken a quote-unquote, air quotes again, people, stud quarterback out of the game for someone else to come in and get some reps.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I love it.
P.J. Walker was their offense. He was still their offense. He threw the only touchdown pass their offense scored.
They didn't really have too much offense.
They weren't on the field enough. Our defense was stout.
They were awesome.
All but Luke Adams were pretty stout.
And they were only on the field for 21 minutes. And we will have, coming up here, a little quote from Brandon Alexander about the time that they spent on the field. And
he probably felt like he didn't get enough playing time.
Yeah, what it was like to only be on the field for that long.
They might be ready to go again tonight.
Yeah, you could tell that they felt fresh, though. They were
flying to the ball.
Oh, they were flying. It was a good game. It was a good game all the way around, as far as I'm concerned.
I will disagree with you on that. I thought we had some rough moments on special teams.
Okay.
Our punt game.
Yeah, we did.
A block punt for a touchdown, a tip punt. Michael Easton.
I was trying to be positive here for the first time, so leave me alone and let me
know what?
do it.
Keep going with this positive aspect.
Jesus
it's a nice
Christ.
change of pace for you. There you go. There's the curmudgeon.
There we go. All right, so we're also going to talk about what else happened in the American this week. We're going to talk, we have a question from a listener on the phone line thing, 407-205-7427, 407-205-7427. You can call us and leave
marketing
a
firms
message
say if you say it 3 times, it's easier to remember for them.
407-205-7427. I have to write it down. I can't even remember my own phone number.
Well, that happens at your age group.
Yeah. Okay, so we're also going to have a little UConn preview. There's not a lot to say about UConn, but we will...
Oh, we have a decent amount
We'll try to figure something out. And we will also talk about what happened in the NFL today. All right, so I think, first of all, I want to play George O'Leary's comments directly after the game, and this is his summary of the game.
Was he as good of a mood as you are?
I think, judge for yourself.
All right.
To review the game, I thought offensively and defensively, probably together, I thought probably put together the best game this year as far as a team. You know, offense, defense, obviously in all three phases, things we want to work on, but I thought they were productive defensively. I thought offensively was productive as far as making plays when they had to make them. So I thought it was a good win against a good football team, and you just got to continue getting better. I thought the work this past week with offense showed the difference, put them in pads and making sure they understood that what football was about as far as the contact end of it. And I thought they took the challenge this week and took it to the game on Saturday.
All right, so those were George O'Leary's comments after the game, and it sounds like he was pretty happy. And he, obviously what he did throughout the week worked. We also were wearing black jerseys.
I think that was a big part of it.
Which, the players, the fans, everybody likes the
I think
black
your
jerseys.
note stated that was the first time we wore black jerseys since the home opener last year against Akron.
Wow, that's crazy.
We looked a lot a lot better out there.
Yeah.
And,
I like
and aesthetically too.
I like it.
Oddly enough, Justin had an easy time seeing his receivers in those jerseys.
I know. He may even have been able to see them a little easier, I think, because he did a great job. So he had.
Wow, you just said Justin did a great job.
Oh,
you really are in a good mood. You really are happy about this game.
He totally did a good job. And speaking of being in a good mood, I'm actually going to revise my. Just real quick here. I'm going to
the ECU.
I'm going to revise that. I'm going to revise my comments.
You can't revise all of it. To refresh your memory, he said we were going to lose 35-3 to ECU. That they were going to quote unquote in this old man language eat our lunch, because apparently that's what people on football teams do. They eat your lunch.
I'm not that old. I'm 41 years. Everybody, 41 years old.
And you only count leap years.
Right. Okay.
So we bet that UCF was not going to lose by 4 touchdowns.
Well, after Connecticut, played them on Thursday night, and pretty much
they had a good showing for themselves.
Had a great showing for themselves.
I mean, they
actually
lost, which is what UConn tends to do.
Right, but I never would have expected, it to wind up being a 10-point game in the first place, and
it took a really good fourth quarter for ECU and stopping their last 4 drives for it to be a 10-point game.
At a couple times, for them to be down to Connecticut and all that. So I think that we can, and I watched the game a little bit more, and I think that we can hang with them because our defense, if our defense plays the way it has played this week
and the week
before,
and at good times against BYU, except for the one,
right.
second, third quarter.
I think I am revising my comments and statements that I think that we can hang with them. As long as our offense plays the way that it did this week and our defense plays the way that it has for the last few weeks, I think that we can hang with them.
Can you please quantify hang with them?
I don't think that we're going to get beat badly.
But I still think we're going to get beat.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but
you hear that, Night Nation? Andrew Phegley hates you.
No, come on. That's not what I'm saying at all.
I know. You got to have a little faith in your Knights.
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's put this a little bit into perspective. Temple was the highest rated defense in our conference, the highest scoring defense, how many points are scored against them, and we came out and we dropped 34 on them.
Right. Well, here's the deal. I think more so, East Carolina I don't think has much defense at all.
They have a decent defense. It's about how much can they focus in the athletes on the defense making plays.
Yeah.
They let a couple big plays happen to UConn, and we'll talk about this game in the wrap-up. I've always thought UCF has had a good chance of winning this game going in Greenville. And the progressions that we're making as a team, the focus that
that is in South Carolina or North Carolina?
And very good point. I must make a correction. I stated Greenville, South Carolina. If it's a town, I'm sorry. And I'm going to apologize to the entire state of South Carolina. You don't house ECU. I'm sorry, South Carolina. And I'm sorry, listeners, I got that wrong. It's Greenville, North Carolina.
I wasn't calling you out. I was just reminding you.
As you should have, and I appreciate it.
You said something to me about that you wanted to.
And I forgot about that.
So, yeah. So anyway, I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think that we have much more of a chance to go in there and win that game.
All right. So what in this game, stat-wise, or anyone you want to, put on the spotlight on in our game against Temple from UCF that gives you this faith that we're going to do better against ECU? What happened in this game that gives you so much hope?
Our defense really, really stepped up. I think that they played, lights out, as people say, or whatever. I think that, there was maybe 1 or 2 big plays by Temple. Excuse me. But besides that, they shut them down. I mean, there was hardly anything. But the biggest thing was that Connecticut was able to score 21 points on East Carolina. That's one of the biggest things to me. And watching their offense with the cornerbacks that we have, watching ECU's offense, I think that our corners can take care of that.
Shane Carden threw for over 445 yards in that game.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, it's not so much ECU's lack of focus against UConn as it is to the increased focus that UCF put on the field on Saturday night.
Right.
We had what looked to me, and I only went stepped out of the stands one time. No missed tackles. They had very little yak. They had one screen out to number 34 who got 21 yards on it, but we didn't give them any big plays. They had that one touchdown, which is a really good catch by the receiver, and a ball that was only being able to catch by the wide receiver. The other touchdown was a block punt. Our defense came. They flew to the ball. Troy Gray, you heard his name called quite a bit, but they didn't have a lot of stats. We were led in tackles by Jordan Ozerites, only because when you have to throw it at someone, you're going to throw it to Jacoby Glenn, or you're going to throw it at Jordan Ozerites.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Jordan's a bad corner. He's a very good college corner, but Jacoby Glenn is that next level type corner. Right. And then our safeties, Geathers and Alexander, are fantastic. Losing Chequan Burkett, which was a load of bullocks, kind of hurt. But, Troy Gray and, of course, Terrence Plummer, and they all came up and stepped up. We had good pressure on the front line, except for Luke Adams. I don't know why they insist on putting this guy into the game. He cannot get off the line of scrimmage. He stands there and watches the play develop and then moves.
Yeah. Jacoby had his 5th interception of the year and is tied for 5th on the all-time UCF single season record, I should say.
For 5 interceptions this year. That kid's, they don't throw at him
single
often.
Season, tied for 5th for this all-time single season. So
they don't throw it to him often, and this is why. And then when they do, he makes them pay.
Yeah. Miles Pace had a good game as well. DJ Killings did some work.
It was nice to see DJ coming in. That he came in, got the pick on the Hail Mary, and he made some plays throughout the game. Number 24 really stepped it up for a good opportunity. Our defense really brought it. They contained P.J. Walker. That was one thing I was concerned about, is our defensive ends being able, or our outside linebackers, when Walker would have a keeper, or if a play would break down, he had nowhere to run. Our secondary did fantastic. They kept coverage, so when he would go scramble, they didn't break off and leave wide receivers wide open. It was an excellent execution and game plan by our coaching staff and our defense in this game. It really held P.J. Walker, the one-star player on that offense, in check. In fact, they had to pull him to try to spark their offense.
Yeah.
You had to pull your engine to try to get your car going. That's what Temple did, and they failed miserably.
That's bad when that happens. Have had to do that before, to be honest with you. Pull the engine. Anyway, William Stanback also rushed for 27 times for a career high for rushing for 27 times, for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has 6 rushing touchdowns this year, equaling his total from his true freshman season last year.
All right, touching on our running game, I saw some good and bad things from Stanback. A lot more patience. He, as we discussed, he didn't run right at the hole. He did a cut into the hole, which is what O'Leary wanted them to focus on. He was a little more patient, letting the blocks develop. Our offensive line made progress. He does have an issue with ball security again. We had another fumble, but there was a lot of mental progress, a lot of tough. His touchdown, the one where he got hit 3 lines behind the line of scrimmage and just drove through them, that was beautiful. That's what a big man does. He showed a lot of mental progression. Dontravius Wilson, not so much. He ran harder. That was one thing I was impressed with, but he didn't make the smart cuts, and he ran right to the hole. What you're hoping a running back does is sets up his linebackers as well as sees the hole. So he sees the hole, you want him to run not directly at it, and then when you make your cut to the opening, and at that time you're leading the linebackers to where they thought you were going to be, and as you make your cut, you give them disadvantageous angles on you, so they can't hit you early, they can't stop you in the hole, they don't deliver as big hits, which causes fumbles or injuries, and you're able to either break through the arm tackles easier, because that's a bad angle and gives it, or you're able, at point of contact, to go farther and gain extra yardage, which is one thing that we saw out of Stanback, this is the second highest career total in yards. He has one 100-yard game. We saw a lot of growth out of Stanback. We saw some growth out of Wilson, and we saw some growth out of our offensive line.
Yeah. Speaking of offensive line, senior Tariq Milner started at the left guard, marking his first career start as a Knight. And he came to UCF this year. He's a transfer out of Jacksonville State. So that's interesting, and that's good for him. I think something worked there. I don't think I saw Joey Grant. Was Joey Grant not playing at all?
He didn't play at all this game. There was speculation that, trying to rest his shoulder a little bit. A shoulder injury is a tough injury to recover from. And then when you come in, when you're in the line and in the scrums and everything, it puts a lot of pressure on that shoulder, and you lose a lot of strength and a lot of punch. And so, he needed a little rest, and we got some great play from Milner. I mean, we had a few issues with our line, but overall, they're progressing nicely. And this is our 7th game of the season, and this is the 7th different line we had started in a game.
Speaking of, Justin Holman has recorded a touchdown pass in 7 straight games.
Not bad. Well done, Mr. Holman.
Brashad Perryman continued his streak, hauling in a reception on his 25th straight game, and he is in sole possession of 9th on the UCF all-time chart. He finished with a career-high 146 receiving yards on 7 receptions. He is the UCF's career leader now in yards per reception. Perryman had a 54-yard TD catch in the second quarter. That was his 4th TD reception on the year, and they have all been at least 45 yards.
That's impressive, and he almost had another one where they had to make those ankle tackles as he was going down the sideline. He had that one drop early. He refocused, and he was a big-time wide receiver, and that 54-yard touchdown hookup with Holman was a beautiful play. It was a nicely thrown ball. He ran under it, broke through everyone. It was, you know what? Big play wide receiver, which is what we need, and it was what he hasn't evolved into.
Yeah. And back to Justin Holman. I'm high on Justin Holman today.
You're a roller coaster of emotions and confidence.
Absolutely. He was 25 for 39 with his personal best of 336 yards and 2 scores. So
he had 2 scores and no interceptions, though he could have had a couple interceptions. Yeah. He had a couple missed passes, but that's going to happen. I was very happy with his performance. You know, that was one tip ball when the 2 Temple defenders kind of ran into each other. They got a little selfish and, gave us an extra play. He did make some good progressions, had some decent throws, had some iffy throws, which is how JJ got hurt early because he overthrew his wide receiver and stretched JJ out. But it was a really solid game, made some good runs, some good decisions, a couple bad decisions, but, it was a really good game for Holman moving forward. This is start number 6, and we're starting to see a young man gaining confidence and experience, and it's put the ball in his hands and let him put that ball in those wide receiver hands.
He put it together this week, definitely. A couple other player notes here that I want to get out. Sean Moffitt converted a pair of field goals and had 10 points Saturday, and that moved him into a tie for 3rd with Kevin Smith with 276 career points.
Hey, that's impressive. 24K was quite the player for us, and now he's a graduate assistant with us.
A running back versus a kicker, too. Kickers should have, they're normally the point leaders on teams.
Understood, but
Sean Moffitt...
the 24K ran for a lot of touchdowns.
He did, yeah. So...
well done, Sean Moffitt.
Absolutely. And JJ had his 18th career receiving touchdown. It moved him up to sole possession of 6th on the UCF all-time list. He had 4 catches that gave him 152 as a night, moving him to 8th all-time at UCF.
He hasn't got a lot of touches this year, and that touchdown that he had was all him on yards after the catch. It was a great way to anticipate and set up the secondary when they were trying to make tackles, and he just broke free. Well done, JJ. He also had, 11 punt return yards, which the punter for that team was pretty dang good on hang time for sure. It was all hang time because there was no distance. But by the time JJ caught the ball, there was 4 guys standing there. Okay, catch it. So listen, that's not a bad strategy when you try to eliminate, arguably our most potent weapon on special teams and on offense, not giving him the ability to return the ball. That's not a bad idea.
He is 2nd in school history now with 726 punt return yards. Also, senior safety Clayton Geathers made his 46th consecutive start, and he added his 1st career sack, which was interesting.
Well done, Clayton.
Yeah, so he's a stud, man. I can't wait to see him play on Sundays, too. He will definitely play on Sundays. So.
Yeah, it's nice to see Atari Bigby, Kamal Ishmael, and Clayton Geathers getting out there on Sundays.
And then Terrence Plummer, Demetrius Anderson, and Miles Pace, which we don't hear his name enough
on the starting lineup.
Yeah, and all those guys also had sacks.
And PJ Walker's not an easy guy to bring down. So well done to our front 7. They earned themselves, I would say, helmet stickers, but we don't do those.
Yeah, well, Maybe we can get O'Leary to do something like that one of these days.
Yeah,
we
good
can
luck
do
with
it
that.
ourselves, and we can give pluses and minuses.
I would
to people.
love it if you ran out on the field and tried to put helmet stickers on.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be hilarious. The giant male
We need-
cheerleaders stand right in front of us.
We need Night Fan Stan to do that.
They might let him do it.
Yeah, I bet they would, actually. Night Fan was supposed to join us this week, and I didn't hear back from him. I'm kind of bummed. But,
Maybe
well.
you creeped him out a little.
Well, he asked, and we were planning on it, and we'll have him. We'll definitely have
Things
him.
happen.
It's all good. Yeah, he said he had a baseball game or something with his kids or something like that. So
Fatherly duties are nice.
yeah, it's all good. So pluses and minuses. You want to start with that?
My biggest plus was our defensive play.
We kind of already talked about a lot
Except
of
for
this,
Luke
but-
Adams. I hate the hound on the poor man, but the kid doesn't get off the damn ball.
Yeah.
He's like a statue. He's the thinking man at the gates of Dante's Inferno.
Speaking of Dante, did you see Dante Culpepper at the game?
I did not. I heard he was there.
He is a very big man. Like, I was shocked. In fact, I didn't recognize him. He's eating well, obviously, right now. He is in a good place, obviously, and he is.
Well, he's not like
he's obviously not working out.
He's not obese.
No, he's a big boy now, though. I mean, quite a lot bigger than he was before.
Oh yeah, he's not a professional athlete anymore.
You're right. I mean, he's eating well. He could probably play on our offensive line pretty easily.
I'm bigger than I was in college. Dante's bigger than he was in college.
I'm just saying.
It's been a while since I played basketball with him at RDV.
I'm just
I'll admit
saying.
that.
Yeah.
But that's more on me, I would think.
Yeah. He's a big boy.
Other pluses, definitely Brashad Perryman and his focus.
Yeah.
Justin Holman, it really brings a smile on my face that I could talk good things about our offensive line. Were there bad things? Yes. But they made progress. So that is a plus to me.
Absolutely. I would have to say Ozerites as well, because of him leading the team with tackles.
Well, they have to throw at him.
And, yeah.
And Troy Gray.
Yeah, absolutely.
He got around and he got guys to the sidelines. They tried to get around him, and Troy Gray shut those angles down. Well done, young man.
Yeah. What about minuses?
Michael Easton. He made a big hit on kick return, but that block punt for a touchdown, he basically waved at number 11 as he ran on by. I mean, he was going to be the gunner. He comes in. I mean, you could see it from right where we were at. He was coming in hot, and he did nothing almost except for just touch the man's shoulder as he ran on by and got the block punt and picked it up for the touchdown.
Yeah. So that was.
And then they got a tip punt, and then Caleb Houston shanked the punt.
So yeah, the punt team and punter, I don't think did a very good job.
Houston fumbled one last week and didn't have the best week this week either. Not all of it was on him, but he didn't have any stud moments.
I think we definitely need to work on some parts of our kicking games. Punters and punt, coverage, or punters and punt team, I should say. Not really our punt coverage or our return game in that, but definitely the,
a little special teams could use some
offensive
love.
side of that, yeah. So
listen, if that's our biggest gripe, I'm a happy man.
yeah, no, I'm good.
That was a good team. UCF, all you young men, you put out a hell of a performance on Saturday. Thank you very much. It was enjoyable to watch from the stands, and it was enjoyable from home.
Yep. We had a great time. Some people are kind of down on this kicking a field goal on third down with 8 seconds left.
Well, you and I were two of those people. On second down, Holman missed, stand back out in the flats to the left when he threw that ball into Perryman. And we had, 8 seconds left. Could have, tried, a fade, something on the goal line, nothing. And we went for it. Now, listen, in the BYU game, we had that bad snap, and he was trying to avoid that and still put points on the board. So if it's a minor little thing for us to complain about, is putting 3 points up as opposed to a possible turnover in the end zone or this, that, or the other,
I'll take the points.
I'll take the points.
I don't think that it was that bad of a.
They have a reason
to
to gripe per se, but
I guess they're not getting the value of their ticket.
No, it's complaining about your free filet mignon because there wasn't enough bacon wrapped around it.
Yeah. Well, whatever. So I'm not. I don't have a problem with that. So
we did at the time, but it's just whatever. Thank you for the 3 points and moving in and getting a little bit.
I was kind of like, what are we doing? But then I
little momentum
honestly,
going into halftime.
Yeah, honestly, I thought about it a little bit, and I really wanted to get those points. So it wasn't. I don't think it was a bad decision at all. With an old school coach like O'Leary, I'm good with it.
All right, we had a hell of a week. How about the rest of the American?
Well, one more thing here. I wanted to touch on this. A couple injuries this week. And hopefully they will be taken care of this week during the time between the game. Renell
Hall went off. And he had looked like kind of a hamstring thing or something. Some type of leg injury.
And I've even heard something possibly about him maybe sitting and not playing for UConn, the UConn game. We'll see if
that's our deepest position. I would much rather have Renell Hall in than not have him.
Yeah, we are very deep there. So, and there's some other guys that we don't see very often that can come in and do a pretty good job as well.
It's missing Joey Grant I'm a little worried about, but I hope he gets healthy. A healthy Joey Grant, a quality offensive lineman.
Yeah, JJ went out at one point, and he actually said in the press conference after the game that was an old injury that he's kind of been nursing. We know that he went down a while back ago, and it looked pretty bad at one point, but he came back, and that dude, he's a total stud.
Dude, JJ's a tough man. He's been tased and came back.
Yeah.
He could definitely come back from a little rib injury.
He did get tased at that thing, didn't he? Oh, boy.
Learning experience.
Yeah. Torian went out.
He hobbled a couple times, but he stood tall, and he showed a mean streak, getting that 15-yard penalty. Not the smartest move, but I like a little meanness in the offensive line.
Absolutely.
I think you know that.
We need something from them. So, and they did it this week. I think they did a much better job. I think, as we were talking about last week, I said somebody needs to light a fire.
No, there's a lot for them to improve on still. I mean, our wide receivers are still arguably our best blockers.
Yeah, the problem is not fixed. I'm not saying that, but the problem...
But they definitely improved their play.
...was far, far better. So, yes... Let's talk about the rest of the American.
How about Thursday night? UConn, East Carolina.
We already talked about that.
Somewhat.
Yeah, so it was definitely a scoring kind of thing going on there, back and forth.
A scoring kind of thing. Holy crap, that is deep insight.
Yeah, well, that's what you get. I don't know. What do you have to say about that game? Besides what we said earlier.
UConn finally developed a quarterback. Whitmer threw for over 300 yards. They tied the game twice, a couple big plays. Shane Carden had an interception in the end zone, a missed kick. East Carolina started to look really flat. Then they finally put together in the fourth quarter, stopped UConn the past 4 times, and were able to secure a win. Listen, we had an ugly win against Tulane. This is their ugly win against UConn.
Yeah, I'm surprised how much there was a lot of offensive passing yards in that game, like a lot. So
how many is a lot?
Well, I'm trying.
Should be roughly 748.
Yeah, okay, you got it, something like that. It's good. I'll go with that. 313 plus 445. So
358.
Yeah,
I'm off by first down.
That's still a lot. To me, that says there's not a lot of pass defense for either one of those teams. They might be a little light in the secondary. So
little light in the secondary.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it's.
UConn has one cornerback which is starting to get on NFL radars.
You think that they were all out there?
Like they only play with 3 defensive backs?
Oh, maybe they were missing a player or something a couple times.
Well, they're missing a quality player or 9.
All right, so moving on, Cincinnati and South Florida, 34-17, Cincinnati.
Okay, a little off topic here. Going around Mount Dora today at the Arts and Craft Festival, there was a lot of UCF stuff, a lot of FSU stuff, a lot of UF stuff. There was, and I'm happy about this, a dearth of USF crap.
Yeah, I saw one little poker chip magnet.
Did you chuck it?
I wanted to. I actually wanted to. I wanted to pee on it, but
are you marking your territory?
I don't think that they would have liked that. If the guys that were
that's
selling,
just socially awkward.
And they were selling the UCF ones and everything for $2, and they were selling the USF one. They had a special on it. It was like 20 cents.
Seriously?
Yeah. No, but
That would have been great.
it's a good story.
It's nice to see Night Nation start to grow in memorabilia and merchandise, and just push the Bulls out of this area. They're not even the top team in their own zip code, and I don't even want them to have a presence anywhere in Central Florida.
Yeah. So, yeah.
As for this
Cincinnati.
game, South Florida, man, let me tell you how Mike White. It started off bad for them with terrible play calling. They didn't run Marlon Mack often enough. And then they tried to play action deep ball, interception first drive. Then they kept trying it, incomplete. Mike White threw a few interceptions, had a couple fumbles, pulled him from the game. They're back up. He's a junior out of Georgia. He actually had a decent time coming in the backup.
Did you see the rushing stats for this game?
No. What are they?
Oh, my God. OMG.
Are you a 16-year-old girl?
Wow.
I just want to know the stats.
Cincinnati had 273 yards rushing.
It's called killing the clock. And, their backup quarterback came and was like 14 of 15, had more completions than Gunnar Kiel did, because Gunnar Kiel went down with a rib injury that's been hobbling him as well.
Here's the deal, though. 19 carries for 212 yards.
How many times was the only person who stopped him the end zone?
One. He only got one touchdown, but there were actually, I think I saw it on, I got to find it here. I'm looking. I'm sorry to be doing this while we're going here. It's almost live, people. It's almost live.
But USF Stephen Bench came in and did a solid job behind Mike White.
I thought they had 200-yard rushers. They did not. So,
well, when one guy has over 200 and the total is 273.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Speaking of a lot of rushing yards, and this is not the American, but we have to talk about TCU and Texas Tech a little bit.
That was 7 touchdowns by their quarterback.
That was unbelievable. But they also, I have to find these stats as well.
I know they put up 82 on Texas Tech.
Yeah, it was quite the showcase of offense there.
It was 82 to 27. That right there is the UConn women's basketball game.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Where they have good fundamentals. They know dunk.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy. They actually had 305 rushing yards, and they did have 2 players that were 105 yards each for 3 touchdowns combined between them. And then the quarterback threw 7 touchdowns. How crazy is that? 82. We haven't seen that for a while.
That's death by smooth.
I mean, we've seen, in the last couple of years, like 70 maybe?
Well, I don't think we've seen it this season, 70, but
we haven't seen 80.
When it comes to a game of 2 teams of this caliber, that was quite a performance.
Do you think there's a little bit of bad blood there between those 2 teams? For one team to rack up the score and keep running it up and running it up and running it up like that?
Nope.
You don't think there's any bad blood there?
Nope.
Okay.
Why would there be?
I think that this is a Big 12 rivalry game, number 1, between 2 Texas schools, so I'm surprised,
Well, there's like 140 teams in Texas.
Or something
TCU
like
hasn't been a part of the Big 12 for that long, and Texas Tech has to show up for it to be a rivalry.
Yeah. 82-27, though. That is a lot of combined points. That's crazy.
And that's the conference we would love to be in.
Yeah.
However,
with Baylor scoring so many points in their games, and then with
our defense is,
TCU.
Terrence Plummer touched on that. They're still pissed at how many points they gave up to Baylor.
Yeah, well, they gave up more points to us, so
exactly.
that's all that matters.
And he was defensive MVP.
All right, so back to the American.
Any games left?
There was one, I believe. Memphis and SMU. Memphis 48-10.
Paxton Lynch had a very, very solid game, like 17 of 23 for 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. They ran the ball solid. SMU is just a hapless team. They are terrible.
They have not won a game. They are 0-7 on the year.
Not only have they not won a game, they haven't almost won a game.
Yeah, that's sad. It's sad, sad, sad.
Yet they are trying to throw a bunch of money at Mac Brown to try to fix this situation.
I'm sorry. I guess I'm not figuring it out. What does Mac Brown have to do with it?
Well, they want to hire him.
Oh.
Because, he's a big-name coach who can bring in a lot of recruits, and SMU has a ton of money. They have no talent, and Mac Brown can fix that. However,
you think
he's older than you?
He's a hell of a lot older than me. He's like almost 70, I would think, if not 70.
Nah, he's getting there. He's pushing it.
Okay, I'm going to Wikipedia that here in a second and see.
Go Google that on your portable internet machine.
Yeah, on your portable internet machine. That's almost as okay. No, we're going to talk about the band. We're not going there.
I'll say this about the band.
What a disappointment. That's what I'm going to say.
I was happy that the old band members played.
And that is all that we will talk about the band on this show.
And the baton twirlers from years bygone were better than the baton twirlers of now.
They were. That's who I was watching too. I was watching the baton twirlers. I know, that's crazy. But they played the same music
as the previous week.
He's 63. So yeah, he's like 22 years older than I am.
You say that, but
Come on.
This or that.
Dude.
Back to the band. It's nice that they steal their playlist from WMMO.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they play XL when they're in the stands.
Yeah.
And they play music from your youth when they're on the field.
They play good stuff up there, and then all of a sudden they can't. Yeah. I don't get it.
That's actually great. Our two biggest gripes about the game was our punting game and the band.
Well, hey.
That's a good game.
It is a good game. That's good. I like it.
Against a quality opponent in Temple who only got 2 wins last year, but they're much improved. They're a program on the ascendancy, and it was very nice to see UCF dominate a team.
Yeah, it was. All right, so next thing real quick here, I want to get this off of the board here. We're going to take a phone call that was a voicemail that somebody left. Of course,
another excellent question from our listeners.
You can do that by calling 407-205-7427. 407-205. Sorry.
He tried to go too fast.
I was trying, and I was going to do it 3 times, like he said. Blah blah blah. 407.
It's for consumer retention.
7427. All right. So yeah, here's our question from John from DC.
Hey, Andrew and Troy. This is John calling in from D.C. Love listening to your guys' show on my morning runs. Enjoying what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work. My question to you is kind of a hypothetical one. If we win out, obviously we're 10-2, but even if we lose to ECU 9-3, which for historical standards is pretty good for UCF, I'm wondering, in the past we've always had pretty stout offensive lines and competitive defensive fronts that have been able to compete with those Power 5 teams. Just wondering whether we win or lose at ECU. Go to a bowl game and face a quality opponent. What is your guys' view of our chances in winning that game, given our struggles on the offensive line? Thanks.
I'm not so sure that's a hypothetical question. That's definitely a realistic situation that we're facing. And if you look at it, the 2 quote-unquote solid P5 teams that we played this year, we've walked away with 2 losses, Penn State and Mizzou, and some might argue that they're not exactly that high-quality teams. I think they're both bowl-bound and they're solid teams. A lot of it is, once again, dependent on our offensive line, and if we get continued progression from game to game like we saw from Tulane to Temple. And to me, really, it's going to be the speed on the outside for these teams because it's going to be dependent on the matchup. I don't think you can just make a generalized statement on, we'll have this type of success versus they'll have this type of success. It's their speed on the outside. I mean that on the defensive ends, if they're able to crush the pocket from the outside, and their outside linebackers, because right now, as we stated previously, our wide receivers are our best blockers, and we have big, strong wide receivers who sustain their blocks. They do everything you want that NFL coaches want from wide receivers and that you really want from your offensive line. So if we're, capable of sealing the edge on them and giving enough space for some of our playmakers, because we have, so many P5 schools would love to have our wide receiver core. And we're seeing good progression from Justin Holman. He still needs to work on a little bit of touch and a few reads, but he's really developing into a really solid young quarterback with, a good mind for the game and a big-time arm. And Rashad Perryman's really developing into a solid, deep threat. So if we're able to work on sealing the edge and be able to get the play calling and the execution, then I really like our chances. We always come prepared for bowl games. And we have a really good coaching staff that gets our young men prepared for bowl games, and we have a very mature mindset on our team, period. It's just how we recruit. We recruit solid academic players with good athleticism, and that really helps when you're preparing for the bigger type of games. And so that gives us an advantage over some of these other teams. And we have some good senior leadership that's starting to step up.
I think we've looked surprisingly well in bowl games, to be honest with you, where everybody has counted us out. They can't play with Baylor. Well,
Liberty Bowl against Mississippi State was but you're right.
But that other Liberty Bowl against Georgia was pretty cool. Even though
Latavius Murray was a current NFL player for the Oakland Raiders, so we have that type of talent. Though not everyone realizes it, and we have mentally more mature student athletes than most other programs.
Right.
So it really depends on our matchup, but I like our chances moving forward. We are a P5 school in the G5 segment.
Right. Thank you very much, John from DC. We appreciate that. In fact, DC is, I have to give it to the DC peeps, because our listeners in DC, they are our number one, besides the Orlando metro area, they are our number one listenership.
Really? And
yes.
I got a lot of family up there, and I haven't told them anything about this because they don't know anything about UCF.
Yeah.
They don't pay attention.
The Knight Nation representing up there in DC.
Maybe that could be a recruiting hotbed for us.
It's big on our stats on our show, and we greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much.
And we greatly appreciate your question. And
you got anything to add to it?
No, you pretty much said it all. Usually when I let you go with something like that, you pretty much say it all. So,
fair enough. All right.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we do step up in situations like that, and we do have, we have in the past, like I said. So I think that is good.
It's a situation that I don't necessarily want to see us in, because I would love to see us in the Access Bowl. I would love to see us go into Greenville and take the de facto conference championship. But it's definitely a realistic situation where a lot of publications have us playing in the Bitcoin Bowl down in St. Pete.
I don't want that to
UTEP
happen.
Or against Florida. If we play Florida, I would love it.
That would be great to play Florida.
Will Muschamp's not going to be there.
Yeah. So
I don't know who's going to coach him, but I would love to play him. I would love to play a Florida school, period.
Yeah.
We could play USF, but it'd be nice to get Miami or FSU or Florida. And if this is the route that we have to go to get it, why not just capitalize on it?
Yep. That would be, I think for that game especially, that would probably be the best draw for them, because otherwise it's not going to be a huge draw. With two Florida teams in a bowl game, though.
As we've come to find out, it's not the best venue for a football game. And so you would have to have two Florida teams, local teams with big support to really fill out that. And as a bowl committee, that's what you want. You want the fans in the stands to make the money.
Baseball is never good or football is never good in a baseball stadium.
Correct.
And baseball is never good in a football stadium.
Sports-specific stadiums.
Yeah. So, I guess this brings us to the time to talk about. Let's talk about the NFL this week.
Oh yeah, good point.
Before we talk about UConn, there's not a lot to say.
Early game this morning in London, Atlanta Falcons, led by Kamal Ishmael, and I say that because he's a UCF Knight. However, he did lead them in tackles. He had 6 tackles himself.
Really? Again?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. I wasn't awake, so.
And then Matt Prater led the Lions. It's funny to say a kicker led a team, but once again, a UCF player. As the Lions came back 122-21, he knocked a few of them in.
Cool. So UCF on both sides of the ball
UCF
there.
on both sides of the ball, making a difference in the game, both of them.
That's awesome. It's awesome I like those games where we have multiple UCF players. That makes me proud. A proud fan and a proud supporter.
Now UCF North didn't really have a great day today, losing Miami. Blake had 2 pick sixes and a fumble. He did throw for over 200 yards and another touchdown. Allen Robinson. Storm didn't get to play.
Yeah, I guess Storm is injured, and I was just reading something, if I can find it here. Somebody said, this is CBSSports.com, said, learning curve too steep for Blake Bortles. That was the headline on a Google alert that I just got.
They have no pass protection. Now there's a lot of decisions that Blake needs to make.
I've mentioned Google 2 different times in the last 2 podcasts.
Are you hoping to get revenue from them?
Yeah. I want Google to,
sponsor us.
Sponsored by.
You want to
Google.
be sponsored by anybody? If it's
so
Bob's Taxidermy, you would take it.
All right.
What about Andrew Phegley Photography?
Well, I mean, that's, you know.
We get no money from it. That's
It's my thing, so. But if you do need pictures of your family or...
No, go for it. Run with it. This is perfect airtime for it.
I should probably do that at some point. Make myself a little commercial with some cool music.
Don't put your face on it, though.
Well, you know, hey, my face is... There's a picture of us up on our website.
Why?
That is UCF Knightline Podcast.com.
That's a lot to type.
Not a lot of people go to that website, so I need to start stressing that.
You put pictures of cheerleaders.
Again,
Bruce Miller's fiance on there.
UCFKnightlinePodcast.com. UCFKnightlinePodcast.com.
I like the voice.
Yeah, well,
Blake's struggling. You know, he's made some bad decisions with the ball. They have actually pretty good run protection or offensive line run blocking. They can't do anything to keep Blake off his back or scrambling about.
And he's forcing the ball in there, obviously. He's trying to make plays. He's trying to, you know, be the playmaker. And, you know, we saw him a little bit struggle, I think, in his first year with some interceptions.
He's going on as a redshirt sophomore.
Yeah. His first year playing is what I was saying. So, you know, and he forced the ball in there a few times, and people, you know, were kind of worried about that going out. But I think that he'll get it together. They need to surround him with a little bit better of an offensive line. I think that's where they need to work, and he'll definitely get better.
Yeah, we'll see more from Blake. He learns.
Give Blake time, and he will be,
like literally, give him time to throw the damn ball.
Yeah, no, but
give him time to learn.
I'm talking about later on in his career, he is going to be,
I know,
a Ben Roethlisberger, who I think is on the down swing now.
Who was on my bench and blew up. I mean, he was still blowing up when we came in to record this.
Oh, yeah?
Man, that kid, I mean, he had 300-plus yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half.
I thought he was, I was...
I didn't mean he actually blew up like he had dynamite strapped to him.
That I thought that he was honestly on a downswing of his career.
Well,
probably,
the Steelers are on the downswing.
I think so, yeah.
And
so maybe it's not as much Big Ben versus...
You know who's on the upswing? 5 wins in a row. UCF.
Absolutely.
Next week we go to Stores and make it 6.
Yep.
Where's Stores located?
Connecticut?
All right. One of us got the state right this time.
All right. So, is that where it's at?
Yep.
Stores, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Didn't know that.
We're playing UConn, who has 1 win against FCS Stony Brook. They are not a very good football team.
Yeah.
We're starting off a 2-touchdown favorite with Vegas. They are 127th in scoring. There's not 127 teams in the first division of football in the FBS. They're that bad.
Yeah.
However, they've made strides. When I say that, they did decent in the ECU game. Chandler Whitmer has finally secured the lone starting quarterback position. He threw for 300 yards, a couple touchdowns. They have a couple playmakers on wide receiver. Deshaun Fox is not a bad wide receiver. He's able to break some plays. They lost their best cornerback, Byron Nelson, for the season. They're starting a true freshman and a wide receiver.
You mean Byron Jones?
Yeah, Byron Nelson classic. Golf, Byron Jones, cornerback.
Byron Nelson? Yeah. Oh,
so defensively, they're defensively they're not as bad as the numbers suggest. They're bad, but they're in the bottom 20 in almost every category because their offense puts them in terrible situations and can't move the football.
And we really need to watch out for something like this because we've been known to play down to
the level of our competition.
Really bad teams.
And this is kind of a trap game. You got to remember, this is a UConn team that lost 12-3 to Tulane.
Yeah. We have looked really bad against really bad teams. So,
their last home game was against Temple, and they lost like 36-10 against Temple. However, they're going to be, though their first-year head coach says there's no moral victories by coming close to beating ECU, but there is a moral victory for them as a team. Trying to get the winning mindset into these young men is not an easy thing to do when you lose every game. But when you come close against a ranked team like ECU, who right now is the front runner for our conference, and then you have UCF coming home, it's a good situation for them to try to build off of. However, they're terrible at tackling. They give up a lot of yards. I can't name, besides Byron Nelson Classic or Mr. Jones, whatever you want to label him as, I can't name another defensive player that has stood out to me, period, on this team. And the defense is the best part of this team. And, And on the offense, Fox and Whitmer, they're starting to get an identity. And they're starting to throw the ball more because they have to, because they've been in bad situations. Before, they threw the ball, 30, 40 times a game, and they were only getting 112 yards between the 2 or 3 quarterbacks that were playing.
Well, I think they definitely surprised East Carolina.
I think East Carolina came in like we did against Tulane. I really believe it was more on East Carolina than it was against UConn. That they lacked a bit of focus, just like UCF did against Tulane, and it came out flat. And though they never trailed in the game, UConn did come back twice to tie the game up at 14-14 and 21-21. And then finally, ECU buckled down. And this is the type of game that, UCF really has to keep the focus and the intensity that came from Temple going, on the road to what could be cold as can be, Connecticut, and keep that focus. If not, this is another trap game. This is a game that could be really ugly to play, or it could be another blowout. And that's such an ambiguous thing to say. It could be this, it could be that, and you're going across the whole spectrum of what a football game can be. But it really depends if we play to the level of our competition or if we keep the focus and the maturation process of our team and growing forward. I absolutely see this being an easy win for UCF. I touched on why we would be good in a bowl game versus a P5 team is because of our mental capacity and the maturity of the team. Same thing moving here against UConn. This is a good situation for our program. This is a good game for us to win and to continue to work on a few things. Guys like Renell Hall and Joey Grant can sit out, and I have no issue with that, even though they're leaders and great football players for our team, because this is a game that we could win. It's in East Hartford is where they play, and we're going to go into East Hartford and pull out another solid victory. It'll be 6 in a row for us. We'll be 4-0 in American, still haven't lost a game in the American, and come home, take a week off, get our boys some rest, and come home against Tulsa on Military Appreciation Night. And happens to be my girlfriend's birthday, and another one of our tailgaters, it's their birthday, so we're going to have a celebratory evening.
Yeah, we get 2 birthdays in our row for the game against Tulsa. That'll be fun. Speaking of games and tailgating, we're always in Lot D2. And I have a banner that I hang up that says Knightline Podcast. It's our logo. It looks just like what you see when you watch or listen to our thing on YouTube. It's the logo that's up there, that's on everything. Somebody needs to come and see us and say hi.
Do they need to come and see us?
I'd like for people to come and see us.
Why, you're tired of just talking to me?
No. I think it would be nice if people came and saw us.
I would love it if we had some fans stop by. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've always got some liquid refreshments. And
are you trying to bribe them now?
No. I'm just saying, if you come by and see us, I'll give you a beer. It's not a bribe. It's just, I'm just saying.
It's a promise.
Come see me and I'll give you a beer. It's all good. Now I'm going to have like 400 people come and, I'll have 2 beers. So if one person comes and sees us...
Then we break a pool stick in 2, hand it to them, and they fight to the death for the beer.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm going to give...
Or a football debate, and the loser goes away.
Absolutely.
And the winner gets a beer.
I'm just saying, if 1 or 2 people come and see us, that'd be cool, and I have a couple beers.
We would love to be able to talk football with you.
Maybe, unless I drink them all before that.
Which is possible.
So it is totally possible. All right, so the last time, of course, that we saw... UConn, we beat them 62-17. We are obviously not the same team, though.
And neither are they.
And
they're worse.
So we could, what do you think is going to be the score for this game? What is your pick? I hope that someone's keeping track of this, because I'm going to have to go back through all these podcasts.
I'm winning because I picked Mizzou to beat us, and you picked us to beat Mizzou. That's the differentiating factor in this game. That's where we've differed.
Okay. Well, we have to go on points or something then.
Well, I'm winning already. Where's the points? You got it. And we're going to pick UCF over UConn now. So unless you want to go with UConn to try to even.
No, we need to go with points or something though, because
whatever you're going to try to. You're just tired of losing bet after bet.
Hey, I got to win somehow.
Yeah, it's not happening, buddy. 42-7 UCF.
42-7. Wow. Okay, I'm going to say 34-3.
Oh, you like that 34-3. Listen, I said we were going to win 17 against Temple, 34-14. I'm glad I was wrong with that. Our offense showed up, which gives me a lot of hope, and I've said that multiple times. A lot of hope moving forward.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that is going to do it for episode number 14.
Good torse.
The UCF
there's the
Knightline
music.
Podcast. All righty. I'm Andrew Phegley, and to my left here.
This is Troy Ondrizek. Thank you for listening, Night Nation.
All right. We'll see you next week.
UCF charge onto the field. With our spirits we'll never yield. Black and gold charge right through the line. Victory is our cry. B-S-E-T-O-R-Y. 2 Niners.